2016 as printed be adopted.
And all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Number 6 is resolution.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Dodd, that City Council now go into the Committee of the Whole to consider public meetings, deputations, public question period, matters arising from correspondence, reports, matters tabled, motions for which notice was previously given, and other business.
And all in favor? That is carried. So we're now in Committee of the Whole. And at number 7, we have no public meetings. And at number 8, we have deputations, and this is one of the fun ones tonight. So I have a presentation to make to the Ontario Senior of the Year Award for our community. So I'm going to go down below. We got it on there. So, the City of Owen Sound is proud to present the Senior of the Year Award for 2016 to Doreen McGregor. This award is established in 1994, allowing municipalities an annual opportunity to honor one of its outstanding local seniors. Recipients are individuals who, after age 65, have enriched the social, cultural, or civil life of the community. The certificate is signed by the Honourable Elizabeth Dalzell, our Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, the Honourable Mario Sergio, the Minister responsible for seniors, and me as Mayor. Doreen has been volunteer at the Harrison Park Senior Centre since it was opened 23 years ago, volunteering approximately 32 hours a month. She has provided administrative support and runs the weekly Pepper, which I understand is Bid Euchre.
Right.
Game at the center. Doreen can often be found at her keyboard sharing her love of music at seniors' homes with her partner Harold. They play on average 6 times a month. Doreen has also been involved with the city's annual Spring Fest 55 Plus for over 15 years. And in her spare time, it's hard to believe she has any spare time, in her spare time she makes sleeping mats from plastic milk bags which are sent to Haiti to be used as beds. According to her daughter, Ruth, who I know, it is hard to find her mom at home as she is so busy volunteering, playing music, and enjoying her life. So on behalf of Council, congratulations to Doreen, our 2016 Senior of the Year Recipient Award. Congratulations. If you want to speak, you can.
I will
speak. Go ahead.
very briefly. When I first got the call, I was shocked, and now I feel very honored, and I enjoy doing all these activities I do. The one little thing I noticed on your report, it says 6 times a month for making music. It's 6 different places we go, but we play at least 6 or 7, 8 times a month anyway.
There'll be Larry Jensen and a lot of professional musicians that will be jealous.
Well, we enjoy making seeing the seniors tap their toes and go along with us.
Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
Our next deputation at 8B is Jessica Linthorne to talk about a Bayshore race that's coming up. Welcome.
Thank you, Your Worship, and Council staff. Thank you very much for having us in today. My name's Jessica Linthorne, and I'm a co-race director this year with the Bayshore race. I've been involved with the race now for a few years. Before I was helping with the race, I was running the race. It's a great event in support of the Owen Sound Hospital Foundation. And with me is Tanya Shute, our volunteer coordinator. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Tanya Schutz, and I'm a part-time social worker at the hospital and fairly new to Owen Sound. Actually, when the Bayshore race is going to happen, I'll be celebrating 3 years living in Owen Sound. And last year, my husband and my family and I decided we wanted to get more involved and get to know our community, and this was a great event to do that. So my husband ran in it, and my kids and I volunteered. And this year, I stepped up to help recruit and engage more people in volunteering for the race.
So a little bit about the race, if you're not aware. So we do offer a walk and a run for our participants. There's a 5K, 10K, and a half marathon, both for the walk or run. Each year we see about 500 people. We also have a kids fun run, which is becoming much more popular.
All right, and so I just want to tell you a little bit about what this year's proceeds are going to be looking to go towards. So each year we kind of pick a theme, or people who are involved in the race want to know what the monies are going to be going towards. So this year we're supporting women's health. And we've kind of coined it supporting women's health close to home. So two of the things that we're looking at, one is a mammography software upgrade for $75,000. As many of you would know, that breast cancer is one of the most common cancers to affect women. Early accurate diagnosis is vital to successful treatment. With new software, our digital mammography equipment can produce 3D images and 2 views of each breast in less time using less radiation. So this will help impact more than 10,000 women from all across Owen Sound and Grey Bruce in the latest diagnostic technology. And the other piece of equipment is for surgical equipment. It's $32,000, and it's to measure and monitor fluids administered during gynecological surgery. And that's also needed in need of replacement. But our goal with this race is to raise $50,000 to put towards those two pieces.
The race this year is on Sunday, August 28th. We want to start by saying thank you to the city. We've had so much success. Of course, we offer a scenic view of Georgian Bay. The Bayshore Community Centre has been a perfect venue for us. Lots of space, parking. We couldn't ask for anything better for this type of an event. We refer our participants to check out our tourism, what tourism has to offer from the city, where to eat, where to stay, where to come to the community to spend some money, the parks, other facilities to check out while they're here to enjoy their stay. City staff really, to continue, they go above and beyond when it comes to race day with road closures, setting up barricades. For the past 6 years, we've just been blown away with the support, everything from getting permits to doing some cross-promotion. That's what our route looks like, in case you are unaware. So we start at the Bayshore, we head north. You'll see a 5K turnaround, 10K turnaround, up to Leith, north of Leith, for our half marathon turnaround. We did get some feedback from participants that they didn't like that pesky hill in our half marathon, so we've dropped that, giving us one of the fastest and flattest courses in Ontario. So using that as one of our big marketing drives, we were seeing more runners coming in, runners that might be brand new runners because it is a flat, fast course, or experienced runners that are looking to set a personal best. It's certainly a great course for that. To share a little bit more good news, over the past few races, we've seen over 2,500 participants. 20% of these runners are coming from outside Grey Bruce, and we have raised $120,000 for medical equipment. The 20% coming out of Grey Bruce is a significant number. That means that these runners are likely staying overnight. They may be staying with friends and family. They may be filling our hotels, camping, what have you. They're here. They're enjoying our city. So to take those numbers into perspective, our economic impact since 2013 has been close to $400,000, which is significant. This is money spent, again, hotels, accommodations, restaurants, downtown shopping, wherever they are, filling up their cars with gas before they leave Owen Sound. This is something that we thought was a good news story to share with Council. So all of the hard work that we've done together collaboratively to increase sport tourism in Owen Sound, to increase the Bayshore race specifically, which also we know is supporting the Owen Sound Hospital Foundation.
All right, so as Jessica has noted, the more that this event continues to grow, there's economic growth for the city and for the Hospital Foundation. So it's a winning combination. And what we're going to ask of you tonight is just to help us promote the race. If there's an ability to retweet things, social media, Facebook shares, encourage family, friends, colleagues, coworkers to promote the race as well. If you're interested in walking or running in the race, you can go to our website and definitely sign up to participate. If you're on vacation or you're not going to be around that day and you still want to contribute, you could pledge a participant. That's also an option. There's also team challenges, up to 20 family, friends, or coworkers. You get points for walking, running, volunteering, collecting pledges, and there's a Spirit Award. And so the last one is volunteer. And if there is an opportunity to encourage anybody to volunteer, this event wouldn't be a success without volunteers, like so many events. We need 70 volunteers to make this event a success. There's everything from things like kit pickups, registration table, wayfinding, so that's greeting people when they come on site, indicating where the bathrooms might be, or kit pickup. There's marshalling, so anywhere from Bayshore Arena right out to north of Leith. Pledge sheet and donation collections, and then there's a food zone for sure. And the volunteers will help make this, the participants, make sure that they stay safe and ensure that this is a first-class experience and we can continue to grow it. And there's our volunteer, but it's also found on our Bayshore online, and we also left some cards at the back if anybody's interested.
So that's it from us. Thanks very much. Sport tourism continues to grow. We continue to see the economic impact of events like this, and we just wanted to take the opportunity to say thanks.
Good, thanks. Questions?
I have a comment. I'd like to thank you for your presentation. Personally, I have participated in the race 6 out of 7 years. Can't remember why I missed that one. I must have been a busy weekend or something. Certainly, I can attest to what we've been told here tonight. I have had 2 personal bests on that course because there are no hills, one in the 5K and one in the 10K. So it's certainly for people who like running and who like an easy run. It is actually a great course, and I would certainly challenge council to get involved. I'd like to point out to the mayor that every year I do a rundown in Newstead, and West Grey Mayor Kevin Eccles is always the winner of the Power Walk down there. So certainly there's a role even for you, Your Worship, in this kind of race. So I think that I would certainly challenge council to get involved. It is a great effort. It raises money. We all know that the province is great at building hospitals, but they don't fund what goes inside the hospitals, and it's events like this that can really help out.
Thank you.
So thanks for your presentation.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Arlene?
I just have a question through you. I would like to ask if our marathon counselor is going to run the race.
Councillor Gregg?
I've kept myself free that weekend. I ran a PB for the 5K there last year, so.
Well, if you run it, I will sponsor you.
Oh, I appreciate that.
I thought
I've
you
got
were gonna say
a
that
further
you'd
comment.
enter.
And I challenge all the rest of the counselors to sponsor him as well.
I thought Deputy Mayor Wright was going to enter. She's got a new knee. Go ahead, Scott.
Just a couple points. Excellent deputation here tonight, and it's worth noting as well, Greg Nickel is well known to many people within the city, and he's worked very hard in building this event. And he's extremely proud of what it's become for Owen Sound too. I know in the running community it's thought very highly. I know a certain clerk working in the chambers tonight as well that was there last year and ran well also. So it touches a lot of people take part in it. I think it's really important to note that as we move into the 2020s, I know TD Economics has forecast that upwards of 80% of provincial dollars will go to health care by the year 2030. And that leaves a piddly 20% for roads, for education, for everything else. And the number one action that they call on the government or society to do is take bolder action to promote healthy lifestyles. That is the number one thing that we can do to assist the financial future of our province. Where lots of people support the hospital, and it's a great fundraiser for it. You do a great job. But I'd leave you with that as well. This is about getting people involved and trying to enhance people's healthy lifestyles that they're living to. So,
Thank you. Councillor Lemon.
Well, I think this is a very unique event in that it's win, 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 and win. And having been the recipient of very good care at the Regional Health Center and other hospitals, I know that the equipment, if you don't keep up to date with the equipment, you're not going to attract doctors and other technical people that are required. And each step forward moves us into the greater amount of technology. And the fact that they will have 3D mammograms, that could be a lifesaver for a lot of people. I think this is wonderful.
Thank you. Anyone else? So www.bayshorerace.com.
And you can also find us on Facebook and Twitter using hashtag Bayshore Race certainly, but on Twitter is @Bayshore Race. Thanks.
So at Bayshore Race, Facebook at bayshore.race or bayshore.com. So if you want to enter, participate, volunteer, any of those sites will get you in contact with the right people.
Absolutely. There is online registration for the run and walk as well at bayshorerace.com.
Good. Thank you very much. Well
Thank
done.
you.
Thank you. So that gets us through the deputations to number 9 is public question period. I'm wondering if there's any public questions. Seeing none, expecting none. Of correspondence received for which direction of council is required at 10A. Councillor Lemon, you've got your Maritime Memorial of the Upper Great Lakes Committee, I guess, minutes?
Yes, Your Worship, and I have, this is the work that's been done. A couple things I should explain about these. Number one, we believe that we're going to work on keeping the cost down as low as possible. The lights we're going to be using are industrial grade LEDs. So they will last a great deal longer, and they'll put more lumens of light out for less electricity. It's sort of like something over 100-watt bulb that we will be using for the main lights. We're asking to approve this set of minutes, and I will have a subsequent motion about approving the first phase of the project. None of the funds will be used until invoices are submitted and approved. So you're not giving us the money, you're giving us access to it. There's a little difference in the amount that we're asking for is $18,245.46 from the Tom Williams Trust for the Inner Harbor work. And the last time I checked, there was about $23,000 in that fund specifically for that. There's also another $35,000, I believe, in for Tom Williams Park in that same trust.
Okay, questions, comments?
I don't mind speaking up in support of this. I think you've done some great work here. I remember when what you're referring to as the naked ship was first built on the Inner Harbor, and at that time Tom Williams was involved in the Inner Harbor development quite heavily, and when it was first built it was lit in this way, not exactly the same way, but it was lit, and it was quite striking at nighttime. It looked a darn sight nicer than it does now, and I think that it'll be something that people will see on the harbor, and it'll give some meaning to the past, especially with the interpretive elements that you're planning on adding in there as well in terms of Owen Sound's past as a shipbuilding port. So I'm certainly in support of this.
Other comments? Councillor Dodd?
Thank you, Worship. I'm almost in complete agreement here with Councillor Thomas. Like, it will be a beautiful sight to see on the harbor. When I was a part of the Janes Walk a couple of weeks ago, we walked the harbor walls, and there was some potential. People saying, you know, how beautiful this would be if this went on. My only question to Councillor Lemon was there other quotes available, or was this the only quote on pricing?
Okay, what happened was we did not ask for this design and quote. It was the artisan group were working with the DIA, and the DIA said, well, we know a group's looking at this ship, and told them where it was, and they went out and looked at it and then submitted this. We have not negotiated with this company at all. I've been in touch with them for clarification, but because it's a submit, we will be going back to them and seeing. Artisan has done a lot of work in this city with the Festival of Northern Lights, and they're currently working with the DIA on the trees that are lit on the main street. That's their work. But one of the things, the way the ship is positioned, you'll be able to see it coming into the harbor and in the harbor both. And those masts are about 70 feet tall, I think. So you're going to see them from one heck of a distance. And that's great.
Councillor Kapke?
Thank you, Your Worship. I think it looks great as well. This is on the east side of the harbor, is that
Yes.
correct? And Director of Community Services, if you could tell me, will this interfere at all with those arches that are put up by the Festival of Northern Lights?
Through you, Your Worship, the ship is located almost at the north end, so not where those arches are.
Okay, thank you.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
Thank you very much. It's a very, very nautical, interesting design. A couple of questions, if I may, Your Worship, to Councillor Lemon. There doesn't say anything in this report about when these are going to be up, the time of year these are going to be up, or how long they're going to be up, or are they just in connection with Northern Lights, or are they going to be up most of the time?
The plan is for the lights to go all year. It will be rather almost ironic that you have the Tom Williams Railway display on the west side, on the CNR station. So that's sort of the northern terminus on the east side. This will become the northern terminus that's on the west side, rather. This will be the east side northern terminus of the Festival of Northern Lights. But it will be an attraction in the summer and all the time. And it's going to be the largest light display in the city. It's the tallest and longest. I think it's 220 feet, 30 feet long. So it's going to be a big display.
Thank you. And one further question then, and so the hydro is picked up by the city?
Yes, the wattage is minimal. As I said, it's about the same as a 150 watt bulb burning. And that was provided for before by the city. The first task will be to remove what's left of the old lights. The power is already to the site. The only problem is that the receptacle box, the door on it has been torn off. And one of the things we're going to have to do is to get a steel fabricator, make a door that the city's comfortable with, and there will be a lock on it.
Sorry. Councillor Gregg?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a point of quick clarification. I think on behalf of the Northern Lights, I would say that this is not something that they would be assuming. They don't have the resources down the road or in the future to assume that. So I just wanted to make that clear.
Okay, anyone else? I love the idea. The original was the line that went up across the top, front to back.
That is correct.
So we're just replacing that. And then the additions are the ones that would go onto the, what I would call them sailboat spreaders.
The yard arms. At that time, they were called yard arms on that type of vessel. That is correct. It's adding this in, and that's going to really make it much more spectacular because it'll be viewed from all over that way, from much more clearly as a ship.
I know we got a letter from the solicitor for the original executors that liked the idea but was concerned about the cost. I'm just wondering about the process, if we should be approving money before we actually know what the final cost is. That's my only question, because that looks like a lot of money.
Okay, what we did, the big cost is the sales, which we broke out completely. We're going to try and reduce the cost as much as possible. We've already been working on that. We have a contingency amount in there. If we can get the price down, we will do that. We're not asking for that amount of money. We're saying this is the absolute max of the project. And we don't get the money. Invoices will come to the city and have to be approved by the city manager before they'll be paid.
Okay, so it's, your motion is just basically, council's got to be comfortable to set the ceiling that high. And
Yeah,
then-
that's
and
the-
then-
that's the
and
upside.
then you'll go up to it.
Well, we hope not to. Our whole thing is, we haven't negotiated with the company at all on the price. That's what they've submitted to us. We need to discuss it further with them.
And you haven't talked to any other companies?
No, because there aren't that many out there that do this kind of work.
Okay. Councillor Kepke and O'Leary, I don't know who went, go ahead.
Just one quick comment. Artisan Streetscape is certainly a very well-known company with Festival of Northern Lights, and they do a very good job, so I have no qualms at all with using them. The other question I have is, are the guardians of the Tom Williams Fund, would they have any say in where the money goes, to the Inner Harbor money, or is it up to the city?
No, it's up to, the way it was worded originally, it's up to the mayor and the city manager, but, and their solicitor.
Okay.
And they're aware of it and they're supportive of it, because this is an original replacement of the original plan, so they're
Okay.
very much in favor of it.
Thank you.
Councillor O'Leary, I think, was next.
I just wanted to make the point that it's one thing, if we approve this tonight, then you can negotiate all you want with Artisan, but they're not going to come down, because they're going to know that we've already approved it for the max. So I would suggest that you find someone to get another price, somehow, as part of your negotiations.
The problem we have is the particular design is their design. We don't own that design. And I do believe that there is some wiggle room in discussions I've had with them. We've already got, and I know exactly where it will be. And so we're asking for the maximum. We will not need the maximum, I'm sure of that. We put a contingency in because that's just the best practice.
Okay, so I'm just clarifying, Councillor Lemon has moved approval, I suppose.
Initially, he asked for approval of the set of minutes and to approve $18,225.46 as money to come from the Tom Williams Trust for the Inner Harbor work. The only difficulty is council probably isn't able to approve these set of minutes because it isn't a committee of council.
Okay. Oh, Councillor Lemon, if I can ask one more question, sorry. On the minutes you've got present, you, members Lacroix, Carlton, Wiley, Gregg, and Bowers, but I noticed further down that there's a motion moved by Councillor, well, not Councillor anymore, by member Jan Chamberlain. So I was...
Yeah, there is.
So there should
Sorry,
be...
there is a mistake in the present. It should include Jan Chamberlain.
Okay.
I apologize. I didn't notice that one.
I guess it doesn't matter if they're not really a committee of the municipality. We're not really approving them. So I guess since it doesn't.
I will
matter,
consider that a friendly amendment, and that will be included. And I do apologize.
So then it would be, Carolyn, help me. It would be to receive,
Yeah, to receive that, and I'll make a subsequent
The report?
motion about the funding.
or can we even receive it? Confusing, eh?
Again, it's not a committee or a board of council, so receipt would probably not be appropriate, but council could confirm that it is reviewed, the minutes of this committee, and then proceed to take whatever action council feels is appropriate based on Councillor Lemon's motion.
So Councillor Lemon's motion should be a motion that council has reviewed, confirm that council has reviewed the report.
Has reviewed the correspondence received from Councillor Lemon and take whatever action is being requested.
I will have a subsequent motion for the action line, yes.
Okay, so that's the first motion?
First motion is just to get this into the record.
Okay.
So to receive the correspondence from this group, which is the Maritime Memorial of Upper Lakes Committee.
Going to go to Councillor Kepke.
Just a question, did this council not ask for a report from this working group? And how did Councillor Gregg get involved? Just because you were interested, or?
Volunteer.
Right.
Well, we were, to my understanding, a committee of council, but after the approval of the initial, I'll call it terms of reference, but at that point it was made clear that the minutes of that committee would come forward to council for review.
Okay. So we are receiving them or whatever, reviewing them tonight.
Receiving the correspondence from the Maritime Memorial of the Upper Lakes Committee.
Okay, good. So everyone understand that motion? All in favor? That is carried. Okay, now Councillor Lemon.
Now, the subsequent motion is the action motion, that this council approves an expenditure of up to a maximum of $18,245.46 for lighting the model of the Manitoba on the East Harbor Wall. All invoices to come to the city and cash to be dispensed by the city. We won't actually get the money, we'll have access to it.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Everyone understands it? Going to call the question. All in favor? And opposed? That's one opposed. So that carried.
Thank you. And we will have more reports as we go along.
Number 11, a report from purchasing agent with regard to fuel. Listening that. Ms. Allen, are you presenting that?
Thank you, Your Worship. Quite simply, this is a recommendation to extend our existing contract with Wainbird Fuels for an additional year. We had taken part with the county in a fuel tender back in 2014, and it was awarded to Wainbird with the option to extend for 2 additional one-year terms. The county has chosen to exercise an extension, and as such, staff recommends that we follow suit. There are a variety of thresholds and taxes applied to the rate we pay. However, given the rack rate at the time the report was written, which was about a couple weeks ago, the city's cost for regular unleaded gasoline at the time would be about 87 cents a litre.
Good, thank you. Questions? Councillor Lemon?
Is that fuel, do we fuel the transit buses from this amount, or how is that done?
The transit buses would be fueled under this contract.
Police.
Sorry?
And the police department?
And police vehicles as well.
Good, thank you.
Motion?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Motion to approve the recommendations.
All in favor? That is carried. Number 2, report from purchasing agent with regard to 8th Street West and 9th Street A West infrastructure improvements.
Thank you. This report recommends awarding tender T16N.1 for the infrastructure improvements at 8th Street and 9th Street A West to McDonnell Excavating, who had the lowest compliant bid of $621,564. The project will install 235 meters of sanitary sewer and 415 meters of water main, as well as full road reconstruction on 9th Street and installation of curb and gutter.
as well as sidewalks. 3 bids were received, the lowest being that to which we are awarding. The project is slightly, well, it is over budget. Any overage which cannot be funded from the water rates in the current year will be debentured and repaid from future water rates. The annual debenture payment on the full amount of the overage would be about $27,500.
Any questions? Councillor O'Leary?
Question for Acting Director of Operations. Chris, McDonnell is doing the 12th Street one too, and I'm just wondering, like, he's not a real big company. Does that interlock at all with, in terms of time, or does that work out okay?
Through you, Your Worship, we should be fine. You're right, he is a small contractor, but he's hoping to wrap up the 12th Street East reconstruction by the end of the month. That'll put him in pretty good shape to start these projects on the west side.
Okay, thank you. I'll move the recommendation.
Okay, Councillor McManaman, did you have questions?
Yeah, thanks for Mr. Webb. 2 quick questions. The 8th Street construction, that will be completed before the start of the school year?
That is the intention. It will be challenging, but they're very short block involved, and the contractor is aware of the time frame. And what will happen is it'll be staged such that the work can get done and completed. That on 8th Street, of course, that's where Hillcrest School is, and then try to coordinate that with the 9th Street A West portion as well. But that is the intention to complete it by this beginning of the school year.
And the second question on 9th Street A West, when this came to committee, there was a concern we were doing the sewer, the road, maybe the sidewalk, I can't recall, but perhaps not the water main. And I know the residents were concerned about that, redoing that street, not doing the water main. So this includes the water main, I understand.
Yes, through you, Your Worship. That is the main reason for the budget overage. Last winter, we had a water main break in this section, and upon reviewing the records and the condition of the water main, it was decided to include it in the tender, and given the coordination with the other works and replacement of services, we feel the best way forward is to do that work. The water main replacement has resulted in additional road restoration costs, so that's in part explains the additional cost for the project. And I'll just remind Council that originally we were going to include the replacement of the 16th Street West water main in the 700 block, but that was deferred to next year because we also discovered we've got some additional challenges with the other block of water main there. So that project will go forward next year, of course, subject to Council approval in the budget.
Other questions? Councillor O'Leary has moved the recommendations. All in favor? That is carried. Down to 11A3, another report from purchasing agent with regard to concrete sidewalk, curbs, and gutters.
Thanks again. This recommendation awards tender 16P.2 to Autoform Contracting with a total bid of $150,309. The project will address concrete replacement and repair at various locations throughout the city. The total bid of $150,000 is over budget. The difference will be funded from the concrete reserve and the operating fund concrete maintenance accounts.
Questions? Councillor McManaman.
Thank you. I'll move the recommendation. I did have a question for Mr. Webb about the sidewalk along 9th Avenue East between 21st and 23rd, as mentioned in the report. We had just talked, I think it was last meeting, about doing some servicing work along there. So first I'm wondering, is the sidewalk affected by that servicing work, either in the road allowance or hooking up to the properties along the road allowance?
Through you, Your Worship. First of all, of course, the 21st to 23rd Street section of 9th Avenue East, the road is not in good condition. There's actually no sanitary and storm sewer in that section, and as part of supporting development in that area, it would be fully reconstructed, including the installation of the services. Pending development also advancing in the area, what we have done with the sidewalk construction, which obviously is addressing a safety concern for pedestrians in that area, is we're placing concrete in areas where we know it won't be disturbed because of development or reconstruction. So that'll be more of a permanent solution. The remaining portion of sidewalk will be installed as asphalt as a temporary measure. And of course, that's a lot less expensive and can be, I guess, sacrificed, if you will, as development and reconstruction proceeds. So the asphalt portion of the project and the sidewalk construction is part of the asphalt tender, which was just released Friday, and it's closing on July 25th.
Follow up, go ahead. Sorry, follow, and will that work be done before the school year as well?
That is our hope, yes. We are targeting to have the sidewalk installed before the school year starts, yes.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Wright?
Well, some of it, just curiosity, basically, through you, please, to our acting director. When the tender was put out, we got 2 bids. The one was excluded because it wasn't done properly, but how in the world can you justify such a difference in the 2 bids?
It is unusual, I must admit. There's quite a variation in the 2 bids. I would suggest that the low bid was from a very experienced and competitive contractor. This is their specialty, this type of work. The other contractor probably doesn't have that sort of experience and was perhaps looking to gain some experience, but wasn't too confident in putting their numbers forward. So it's hard to really to compare the 2 because there were only 2 bids. We do feel confident, actually, that the low bid is competitive because the unit prices compare very favorably with prices from last year. There isn't really much increase in the unit pricing.
Okay, and may I ask, do you have any measurement on how many yards of sidewalk we are going to use, or I guess, I mean, $150,000 isn't going to do an awful lot of curbs and sidewalks, is it?
No, it's part of the reason for the cost is we've got so many different areas that have to be replaced. We're not replacing or constructing new sidewalk in one continuous strip. So as a result, there's a bit of mobilization and setup costs. But to answer your question, I can't recall the total quantity. But for sidewalk installation, it's essentially priced out on a per square meter basis. And for curb and gutter, it's priced on a linear meter basis. And I know, for instance, that the unit price for sidewalk is around $135 per square meter.
Thank you.
Councillor Lemon, you had your hand up.
My question was answered by Deputy Mayor Wright's question.
Good, thank you.
Same question.
So I believe it was Councillor McManaman's motion, so all in favor? That is carried. Number 4, report from Chief Librarian, CEO, Owen Sound, and North Grey Union Public Library with regard to the elevator rehab. Someone speaking to that?
Through your worship, I believe the the Chief Librarian's report is self-explanatory. Probably the Chair of the Board might have more information on the report than I do, your worship.
I really don't even want to talk about this elevator any longer. I think we all feel the same way at the library. Basically what this is, we had all the work done in the library, and still the base of the elevator is filling with water. And so what we're doing is moving forward now to waterproof the inside of the elevator basin, and we're just asking council here to let us go ahead with the work, which will be within the very close to the $70,000 that was allowed. It may go slightly over, in which case the library will be covering that from our reserves.
Questions? Go ahead, Councillor Gregg.
Thank you, Mayor By. My only question just is regarding the 1-year warranty. I just wondered if this, it seems to be extremely a short time.
My understanding is that that's as good as it gets, too. We did have quite a conversation at our board meeting about that 1-year warranty, and it really is the standard. There are so few companies that actually do this kind of work that is really as good as it gets.
So you're moving that recommendation?
Yes, I would move that recommendation. Thanks.
Any further questions? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question. All in favor? That is carried. So we're down to number 5, Facilities Booking Coordinator with regard to RibFest.
Thank you, Worship. Back in May, Council had approved in principle a request from the Bradford West Gwillimbury Community Events Group to hold a Rib Fest event Saturday or Friday, September 23rd till Sunday, September 25th, subject to staff coming back with an agreement. The Bradford West Gwillimbury Community Events Group is a nonprofit group, and the map for their proposed plan is attached. It is in the north parking lot of the Bay Shore. It will be about $1,000 in revenue to the city. So staff have negotiated with the event organizer a fairly standard agreement. It includes things like liability insurance, provision of washrooms, liquor licensing, etc. So the recommendation is that council approve the request for the use of that space on Friday to Sunday and authorize the bylaw to execute the agreement.
Okay, Councillor Lemon.
I would move the recommendation on that. I think the more events we can get here, the more people we can bring here, just like the run we talked about earlier. And I think it's a good idea. It looks like they've done a lot of planning.
Councillor Kepke, I think. Covered. Okay, Deputy Mayor Wright.
That's fine, but number one, we approve West Gwillimbury Community Events Association to use the north parking lot at the Bayshore Community Centre, use Kelso Beach Park for the 2016.
It should just be the north parking lot.
And it should not be, Kelso Beach should not even be in there, right?
So Councillor Lemon is still moving that, except with that edit. This way, was there any hands, any questions? No, it's good to have it off the lawns, though, isn't it, from Kelso, where the trucks potentially do damage if it's wet to a solid parking lot. Okay, I'm going to call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Number 6, verbal or oral report from Deputy Mayor Wright with regard to Grey County Council, but I think he's going to waive that. Arlene? Got nothing to report.
Thank you, Your Worship. The only item I would report on is the discussions we had with regard to our nursing home, and that was front page in the paper, and I'm quite sure we're all fully aware of the study that's going on between the 3 nursing homes.
And to be clear, for anyone that's watching outside of Owen Sound or inside Owen Sound, County Council has not made any decisions yet, and they're continuing to look at absolutely everything before they make up their mind, just to confirm that. Okay, we're down to consent agenda items. Carolyn, do you want to give us a rundown?
Your Worship, on the consent agenda this evening, there's a report from the Facilities Booking Coordinator regarding the Sydenham Sportsmen's Association Salmon Spectacular, August 26 to September 4 of this year. A report from the Booking Coordinator regarding the Owen Sound Agricultural Society to operate a licensed event at Victoria Park, September 8 to 10, 2016. A report also from the Booking Coordinator regarding the Fall Classic Slow Pitch Tournament at Duncan McClellan Park, September 23 through to 25. And a report from the Engineering Administrative Assistant regarding the 50s First Friday road closure. In addition, there's a report from the Community Planner regarding Georgian Bluffs site plan application for Abigail Homes, where there's no further comment that's suggested from the city. The city commented on those applications in the past, the official plan and zoning, I believe. And there are planning notices where there's no report. There's minutes of boards and committees, including the Owen Sound and North Grey Union Public Library meeting held on May 26th, the Owen Sound Police Services Board meeting held on May 25th, and the Grey Salvo Conservation Authority Full Authority Board of Directors meeting held on May 11th. There's correspondence received, which is itemized at item 10 on Council's agenda, which includes resolutions forwarded from other municipalities for Council's consideration. And just prior to ending that, Your Worship, I neglected to ask you to add to item 11E minutes of closed meetings for receipt. The additional set of minutes we received today from the Owen Sound Housing Company for the June 21 meeting. So when it comes to that item, we can just move it, both sets of minutes if possible.
Okay. So I'm looking for a motion to receive items 11B1 to 11B10, and that we approve 11B1 to 11B5. Councillor Gregg, I think, had his hand up first there. He's moving them.
11B6.
Sorry?
11B6.
For approval. We're moving receipt of 11B1 to 11B10. We are approving 11B1 to 11B5. Okay, all in favor? That is carried. Okay, now if we can go back to number 7, which is report from the library.
Thanks, Your Worship. Just a couple of items I'd like to bring up. The Ontario Library Consortium has agreed to adopt something called Blue Cloud Visibility, which is a big name for suggesting that from now on, or at least starting in September, when you do a Google search for something, the library's catalog will now appear in your search results. So if you are looking for information that's contained in our library, it'll pop up in Google, which is a big change. That'll be great for people like me who spend a lot of time researching things. The other item is the technology upgrade project that we're undertaking at the library. We've identified that pretty much every piece of technology used by staff and the public in the library is well beyond its best buy date, and so we will be replacing all of the computers in the library over the next few months, and that'll come from a special administrative reserve fund that we carry at the library to replace all of that technology. And that's all. Thank you.
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Owen Sound Police Board Service, Ryan, do you want to give us a report?
Thank you, Your Worship. Traffic enforcement statistics. Highway Traffic Act is 136, compliance reports 46, recorded cautions 84, liquor license charges 7, and 91 under the criminal code. There's 115 hours put in on foot patrol downtown, 4 hours in high schools. There's a 2-week enforcement focus conducted in April on stop sign compliance at 8th Street West and 3rd Avenue West as a result of a community complaint. A total of 12 charges/warnings were issued for related offenses. In May, they focused on the compliance of rules of the road for bicycles, skateboards, and e-bikes, including bylaw offenses of riding on the sidewalk. Ride program, 37 officers, 15 and a half hours, 562 drivers checked, 12 Highway Traffic Act charges, 0 roadside tests, 0 impaired driving charges. Collision stats, total collisions 33, 13 on the east side, 3 on the west side, 17 in parking lots. Personnel records, full-time data entry clerks took off a total of 13 shifts in the month of April that were all covered by part-time entry clerks. There were 2 sick call-ins by full-time data clerks. Local criminal check searches are being completed and sent back to the individuals within 2 weeks of submitting them. Lost hours, there was 12 full-time members reported sick in April for a total of 21 complete or partial shifts, representing a total of 242 and a half hours. So just to compare, in April of 2016, 242 hours. Last year in 2015, we had lost 186 hours, so that's up about 60 hours in a month for sick times. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, questions? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Bai. Just something I wonder if you could take forward to for some discussion or thought. But one concern I have is we work hard to enhance the looks of our downtown, and I see a lot of grocery carts downtown behind buildings, and actually there's 2 on 8th Street that have been parked there now for several days on the sidewalk. And several years ago, this council worked very hard to help secure the viability of the grocery store downtown. So I know a couple months ago I went in and I said, how much is one of these grocery carts that's located behind any of the buildings downtown? And the answer is $300 to $400 a piece. So just today, there's 2 on 8th Street and 2 right behind a corner building located on 2nd Avenue and 8th Street. And I wonder if police can pay a little closer attention just to the people that are, you know, if you went into any business and you took $300 to $400 from them, it would be robbery. But we seemingly at times you take 3 steps forward to enhance the beautification of your downtown, and something like that is a kind of a giant step backwards. I just wonder if that's something that could be mentioned, if there's any police enforcement that can come out of that at all.
I'd be glad to pass that along, Councillor Gregg. That wasn't Councillor Lemon, that was his cane.
Okay, number 9 is Grey Sauble Conservation Authority.
Thank you, Your Worship. Of particular note in these minutes is a project called Extraordinary Tree Project. And this was a vision by Stephen Hogbin, who was looking at ways to celebrate the tree, and he invited organizations to partner, and I'll talk about those in a second. But it would be to bring science, history, art, and education to the table regarding a tree. So it's to increase awareness of the variety of interesting or significant trees in the region, as well as encouraging people of all ages to reflect on their relationship with certain trees in their neighborhood. One tree that is reflective is the tree at Kelso Beach that has a huge bend in it, just sort of in the center of Kelso Beach as you're driving in. It's got a big bend in it. It's a very popular tree, but it's a very interesting tree, and that was one of the trees that was nominated. The partnership is with Grey Roots Museum and Archives, Tom Thompson Art Gallery, Fanshawe College Landscape Architecture, and the Grey Sauble Conservation Authority. And in the fall there will be a display at Grey Roots from November till April 2017, and there will also be a lecture series as well as a book launch on these interesting trees in the area. So I think it's quite a unique project, and sincere thanks goes to Bruce Power, who is sponsoring this whole project to the tune of $18,500. So we want to thank Bruce Power for that. So if Councillor O'Leary had a special tree that he climbed several times in his youth and fell out of it several times in his youth, he may want to submit the picture of that tree and write a little story about it. So that could be included in the book. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor O'Leary, did you ever fall out of a tree?
A few times.
Good. I think that gets us through 11B, so we're down to 11C, which is minutes of boards and committees for approval. We're starting at number 1 with minutes of the Accessibility Advisory Committee. Who wants to present those?
I can do it.
Okay, go ahead.
At the meeting of the Accessibility Advisory Committee, there was a lot of concern re the report we received from our transportation provider about the quality of the information we were getting on missed trips. And that is going back and is being dealt with by the city engineer and our transit person. The other thing was approving the site plan for ANPET Realty, and we are very pleased to see that go ahead. And the other question pertaining to the Scenic City Order of Good Cheer and the washroom at Kelso Beach. We feel it's a wonderful idea. We like the fact that it's accessible, but the one question would be possible to have what's called a family washroom, because sometimes if someone may be receiving support from someone of the opposite gender, and like which one of those washrooms would you use? It does create a problem for some families. But we certainly approve that. But it'd be really nice if we could, when that building is done, sort of set it up so that at some point in the future, we could add a family washroom to it. Because with an aging population, sometimes a spouse is needed to assist the person with a disability.
So with that, you're moving the approval of those minutes?
Yes, I am.
Any questions? All in favor? That is carried. Number 2 is minutes of the Canada 150 Owen Sound 160 celebration.
Thank you, Your Worship. Things are moving along quite nicely with this committee and the work that they're involved with. The DIA had sent a request to leave the NOMA lights across 2nd Avenue in place during the year of 2017, so that this committee is recommending approval of that, leaving the lights across and having them lit from 9 till midnight. As well, they're asking staff to investigate the possibility of leaving the lighted arches along the harbor during 2017. This committee also are recommending approval of decorative bows by the Quota Club, who will be selling bows, the red bows for people to put on their houses during the event year. Canada 150 special tulips, flag tulips, are available from Home Hardware. So the committee is recommending that tulips be purchased for Jervis Bay Park, and they were going to purchase them for the garden at the front of City Hall, but renovations will be taking place at that time, so another appropriate spot will be determined for that. Following the meeting, there was a very successful information session that took place of interested stakeholders, along with the presentation from the Community Foundation Grey Bruce regarding partial or potential funding for organizations to celebrate their Canada 150 events. So they can make application to Community Foundation Grey Bruce for funding of those events. And staff are keeping a very well-logged calendar of events for the whole year so that they can be advertised for that. And with that, I'll move approval of the recommendations in the minute.
So any questions from anyone? Councillor McManaman?
Thank you. Just about the question about the NOMA lights remaining up year-round, it's mentioned in the minutes, there's concern about flower baskets not going up or banners. And then there's no real, so will banners and flower baskets not be going up?
I'll have the director answer that question.
The baskets and the banners will still be going up.
I'm concerned with that about visual clutter as mentioned in the minutes, but if that's the wish of committee.
Did we not do this in 2007?
And
1957 as well.
it's just,
But we don't
you know,
remember that one.
I do.
Councillor Lemon, you're leaving yourself wide open here, but I'll just let that go.
I was very young. I just have a good memory.
Were you on council at the time? That's really the
I
question.
was not on council at the time, nor was my father. No, he wasn't on then.
Okay.
Anyway, that's fine. I do share the concern about visual clutter with baskets, banners, flowers, trees, and now the lights.
And we're going to add directional signs to the library, the art gallery. So with that, Councillor Lemon.
One thing I would draw attention to are the Invictus Games Torch Relay. That is something that is very huge, and I think it's a way of getting Big Smeeford involved with our celebration, because I don't know if anybody knows about this, but one of the people involved in that participated in the Amazing Race Canada and did extremely well.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to call the question. Oh, do you? Go ahead, sorry.
I'm just hoping that the Festival of Northern Lights people can restring those lights, because they were starting to look pretty shabby. They were missing so many lights, it was getting shabby looking.
That is in the process of being done right now, yes.
Good, thanks. Now I'm going to call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Thanks.
Number 3 is minutes of Operations Committee, meeting held June 23rd, 2016.
Thank you very much. I'm talking about the minutes of the first set of minutes, not May 26th, the ones that we had, last meeting was the end of June.
June 23rd.
We had a deputation, actually, we had invited Deputy Chief Werfel to come to talk to us about the parking around the Bay Shore. And as you know, we have been working on that project of taking off some of the parking on the streets for safety measures. So we talked about enforcement of the parking, and the Deputy Chief Werfel was telling us that it should be really up to the bylaw enforcement officers, because it would be cheaper for them to do it than to have the police doing it, simply because if the police that are on duty, if they're called away for an emergency, they would not be doing the parking enforcement. So if we wanted it, he suggested that we use a bylaw enforcement officer, and that we also would issue a courtesy note at the beginning so that people become aware of the parking. So that was the first issue we dealt with, was the parking at the Bay Shore and the no parking zones, and as you can see them, that we are providing signs to show that there will be no parking in certain areas of the Bay Shore, that during activities down there, because it causes some traffic safety issues and traffic tie-ups, and we get complaints from citizens along that live down there about not being able to use their driveways or to get in and out of their driveway, especially in the winter time. So parking has been removed from the east side of the 2nd Avenue, from 17th Street, 18th Street south for a number of blocks, and then on 4th Avenue East, on the parking on the east side has been removed as well. Now, if I'm missing anything, I'm going to ask Mr. Webb to add on to that, but it's all set out there anyway. And both sides of 18th Street, between 3rd Avenue East and 4th Avenue East. And we're hoping that there will be a reasonable parking in the north lot, and that perhaps we can get parking people in there to help people park, because they just simply, if they park properly in the north lot, you could get another 50, 60 vehicles in that lot, and that would help the fact that we're removing them off the street. So the second issue that we dealt with was the northwest quadrant. We reported on the success of that work, and that's to do with the stormwater separation project status, and we have been asked to expand that area to south of 10th Street West, or ES West, covering down to the 9th Street Bridge sanitary sewer crossing, and approve the scope of the I&I program to include a review of the smoke testing data for the rest of the city. And I suspect that we will be alerting the public when we do that smoke testing.
Through your worship, the smoke testing has been completed.
Oh, it's been done?
Yes, it was done a few years ago, so we're actually taking the results of that testing and then going out and seeking the areas where there's actually infiltration into the sanitary sewer system. So that's the work that we're proposing to do now, to actually eliminate those inflows.
Okay, thank you. And then we had, we discussed the signage up on 16th Street and 9th Avenue East. There's a bit of confusion on that turn up there, and since that is a highway, I believe we have to have permission from the Department of Highways to do that work up there. So that's undergoing right now. We have talked about the sanitary and storm sewer review and servicing costs for 9th Avenue East from 21st Street to 23rd Street East. And we had a number of the neighbors were at that meeting also. We had a discussion with them, and we are asking council to approve that area of what we plan to do up in that area as well. The cost estimate is there, and also we also looked at what each of the property owners would be paying back into the city. Under Public Works, we had an Engineering Department Capital Projects update. The committee discussed the project's update and questioned whether the Sydenham Heights EA would be completed this year. Staff explained that subject to the extent of public involvement, it should be completed by early December, and the balance of the winter with the tender of the new trunk sewer early in spring of '27. The wastewater and water treatment, we had at the last council meeting, we had a presentation to explain all that to us, and that's exactly the same program that we had at our meeting, so I don't need to go through all that because council's already received that. Under other business, we had Councillor McManaman asked for an update on Ryerson School, and as you can see there, the sodding was completed the week of June 21st. They established a period of 15 to 30 days for sod and flat ground. I don't know if you have a further update on what we had at our meeting. A couple weeks have gone by. Chris, is there an update on that you could give us?
With respect to the wastewater treatment plant, Your Worship?
No, with respect to Ryerson
Park.
Lake
Oh,
Park.
I'm sorry, yes, yes, I actually can update council on that as well. I was just going to say about the wastewater treatment plant, there's actually, the new power supply has been installed. That has happened since the last update, so that's been put in successfully. The Ryerson Park has essentially been largely open to the public, and all the work is completed there. There's one small area for younger children that has to be completed. It looks like we're probably on target for a grand opening sometime in early August.
Okay, thank you. Included here are the minutes from the May 26th meeting. I'm not sure if they've come to council or not. I wasn't at the meeting, and I thought that you dealt with those at the next meeting, so that's fine. Now we come down to the Blue Community Report, and this was asked to come to us separately, so there is a recommendation there respecting the Blue Community's implementation plan. The implementation plan is set out there. Chris Hughes has prepared it, and I believe that the directions are all there. The direction from the committee and City Council is to examine the infrastructure requirements should City Council wish to approve a ban on the sale of bottled water, and that I expect we'll be dealing with later. I was not available at the first time this was discussed, but Councilor McManaman was there, so if any of you have questions, I would respectfully ask Councillor McManaman deal with this issue.
Go ahead. And this was just for council's information, more or less, to let them know. It mentioned those earlier minutes that this plan had come forward. It wasn't attached. Here's the attachment, just so council's aware. The bottled water issue is scheduled, I think, to come back next summer, next June or July, for council to discuss. The only thing in these minutes that was not recommended by the committee was they had mentioned defaulting tenant water bills. Tenants that default on their water bill be added to the landlord's taxes. Committee advised, recommended no action be taken on that point. Other than that, the rest of it's here. The discussion about public buildings and having public water fountains for them was, an interesting one, and it reminded me that we'll have to bring up at the City Hall rebuild. I'm not sure that was discussed, so it was just not a bad idea. If it's a public meeting, you should have a water refilling station, a fountain, perhaps. We can discuss that at the next City Hall renovation meeting. Anyway, the information's there.
So I will move this receipt of these minutes.
Okay, now any other questions, Councillor Thomas?
I just have a quick question about the on-street parking around the Bay Shore. I think it's great. You've done some good work. Anyone who goes to those games knows what a rodeo it can be outside trying to get out of there afterwards. But I think if we know anything as politicians, we know that people don't like change particularly. And I'd just like to know whether there's some sort of a plan in place or will be to inform people of these changes. I like the idea of the courtesy ticket first. I was going to suggest that. Another suggestion I had was perhaps a small map handout with the changes outlined that could be given to every ticket holder when they pick up their season's tickets at the end of August from the Attack box office. Might be a good way to get the message out.
It's a great idea, because we're trying to get parking onto 17th Street going down towards the health unit, so it makes sense that isn't necessarily cutting parking as it is moving it, and how do we get that out? So, good, thanks. Chris?
If I may, Your Worship, our plan is to work and communicate through the attack ownership group to get the word out through that mechanism, as well as we'll be circulating notices directly to the residents where there's impacts to the on-street parking in their areas.
Thanks. Go ahead.
I think that Councillor Thomas's suggestion that a notice go out with the to the season ticket holders or the tickets at the very first of the season is excellent. Perhaps we could follow up with something like that.
Okay. Councillor Lemon?
With the big scoreboard that they have, they can put anything on digitally. Perhaps we could ask the attack group to include that, because that's a really good way, because then you're hitting all the people who go to games.
Yeah, that's kind of what
We're
they're
making
talking about.
notes here as you speak, Your Worship.
Councillor Kapke.
Nothing to do with the parking, but I had another question. If I could ask that council receive a status on the advertising on the transit buses. They've been in service for quite a while now, and I see only one ad on some of the buses, and I wondered if we could get a status on that.
Deputy Mayor Wright?
Well, Councillor Kepke spoke to me prior to this meeting, and I wrote it in my book to bring up at the next meeting.
So you're going to bring up at the next committee?
Yeah.
Okay. Just, if I may, Mr. Webb, I'm maybe putting you on the spot here because I didn't warn you, but the Northwest Quadrant study, can you give us a brief kind of explanation? I thought it was pretty important if you can give us an explanation of what was done, what the result was. I know I'm kind of stiffing you a little bit here, but at the committee I was amazed at some of the information that came forward, and I thought the public needs to hear it.
No, there's no problem, actually. There were 2 or 3 areas where there was a significant amount of inflows into the sanitary sewer system. In one case, we had a ditch inlet catch basin that was not functioning. Because it was blocked, the water and the runoff from the area was actually entering a sanitary sewer manhole, and that was going directly into and that's basically storm water that doesn't need to be treated. So it was entering the sanitary sewer system. So every time, and it was a low area, that every time it flooded, we had this extraneous flow entering the system that was being pumped and treated unnecessarily. We also identified a few locations where, near the outfall of the storm system, we have flap gates that prevent, when there's high water in the harbor, prevent that storm water from backing up or surging into the system. But those areas also act as a bypass or overflow for the sanitary sewers if in the event they get backed up and surcharged. And to avoid flooding and backing up into homes or businesses, unfortunately it'll discharge into the harbor or the river, as the case may be. But there are 2 locations where the gate that allows the sewage to essentially be redirected into the storm sewer was allowing storm water to enter into the sanitary sewer all the time. It was simply stuck. So that was identified and temporarily repaired, and there'll be a more permanent repair put in place. There was also the former BCK property, where all of the runoff from that property was actually being directed to the sanitary sewer system. So we're in the process of working with the property owner to have that redirected. And we've also identified a number of smaller locations where we've got catch basins and improper connections where the surface water and groundwater is getting into the sanitary system. We also did discover with the smoke testing quite a few areas where the smoke testing gave a false positive. In other words, it indicated that there was a direct connection between the storm and sanitary systems, but that in fact was not the case. We believe what happened was, with this smoke testing that was done, it was done under pressure. Normally they just use atmospheric pressure and let the smoke sort of rise through convection, but In this case, they blocked the sewers and pressurized the system. Likely what was happening was the smoke was migrating through the ground and then transferring from one system to the other, which wouldn't actually happen in the case of the sewage. So that was good information because it actually proved that the system wasn't quite as bad as what the testing had indicated. But there were some fairly blatant errors or areas where we were able to correct, so much so that the vast majority of area that had been identified as being potential inflows was determined to either not be a problem or it was repaired or will be repaired. And that's the reason why staff recommended in the report, which council has approved with these minutes, to expand the system to the rest of the city so we can apply those dollars effectively to other areas where we know there is, I guess, good opportunity to reduce these flows at fairly economical cost.
So, so for that geographic area that was studied, there'll be reduced stormwater going into sanitation, and therefore a reduction of overflows that seem to happen during storms through sanitation ends up going into the river, into the harbor. It should reduce those as the result.
That's the overall impact of these reductions, as well as it also improves the hydraulic efficiency of the collection system and the treatment efficiency at the wastewater treatment plant, and as well as the pumping at the pumping stations,
Good,
particularly the west side pumping station.
Good, thank you. Deputy Mayor Wright moved the approval of the report. All in favor? That is carried. We're down to 11D, which is minutes of confidential closed session held June 13th, and closed session of council also held June 13th. Someone want to move those? Councillor Thomas is moving approval of those. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. Minutes of a closed meeting for receipt. And in camera, the Owen Sound Housing Company meeting held on May 20th, 2016. Councillor Thomas just moved those two. His finger went up. Oh, and the...
In the June 21st minutes in-camera session of,
That's okay, Councillor Thomas. Yeah, he's moving both of those. All in favor? It's carried. Other business. Councillor Dodd.
Thank you, Your Worship. As members of the council and to the public, on June 29th, Mayor Boddy and myself attended the second annual Rural Ontario Summit, which was titled Building the Future and was focused on youth retention and development in rural areas. So as you may remember, back in April, Honourable Minister Jeff Leal was here in our chambers to discuss the same issue with youth from our municipality and some of our surrounding municipalities. So we had a great eventful day with a full agenda. I think we left at 6:30 and got home around 8:30 at night, so it was a full day. But it was a great day. We were discussing opportunities for education and training, creating jobs and entrepreneurship, and the importance of building strong social infrastructure. There were some fantastic presentations throughout that day as well, from young entrepreneurs to one of our local Grey County members here, Jacinda Rudolph, who manages the Launchpad Youth Activity and Technology Center in Hanover. So overall, it was a productive day trying to find ways to retain and develop youth in our communities, and I'll be more than happy to bring some of our findings back to the Economic Development Committee in the near future.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none. I'm sure it was closer to 9 before we got home. It couldn't have been 2 hours. Mr. Ritchie. Mr. Parker.
Your Worship, members of council, just an update for the community that over the next 3 or 4 days we'll be getting higher temperatures here in the city with humidity index going up to upwards of 40 degrees. Residents that are watching us this evening, you can visit City Hall, the library, the Bayshore, Tom Thompson Gallery, or the Julie MacArthur Rec Center, which is all air conditioned, and there will be water available at most of these locations, as well as outdoor water facilities such as Harrison Park Pool and the Kelso Beach Splash Pad. I understand right now City Hall doesn't have a lot of air conditioning, but it is still cooler than some parts outside. More information certainly at Environment Canada as well as 211 if anyone has any questions for that as well.
Councillor Craig?
Thanks, Mayor By. Quick question. You mentioned water available at certain facilities. Can you explain, is it tap water? Or, I mean, we're working towards becoming a blue community, and
Not water bottles.
I'm not sure
Sorry,
the
like
provision
water
of water.
fountains.
Okay.
That are
I
at
just
the
want to make sure I'm not in
MacArthur,
support
and
of
I believe-
passing out water bottles.
No, we're not.
Plastic water bottles. So,
Yeah.
thank.
Okay, other questions? Good, thank you. I think we're down to Councillor O'Leary.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this is our second annual Ugliest Shirt Contest, and I'm just wondering, did staff get the memo? Did you send that to staff and council?
I did.
And none of them participated.
Carolyn
There's-
did.
Pardon?
Oh,
Oh, yeah, Carolyn did. Oh, no, that's,
You're really in trouble.
now you're in trouble.
Take out left, apply right.
Anyways, as you recall, a year ago, Councillor McManaman won for all the wrong reasons, and we won't get into that because we roughed him up pretty good last year. But Councillor McManaman, you bounced back this year with a shirt that's just absolutely disgusting, and you won again. So congratulations, you will get the gift bag. And just so you know, there's some pretty serious prizes in here. There's 3 coupons for $4 each from Chapman's Ice Cream.
Oh.
So Kelly will get those, so we can buy each of the 3 kids ice cream. There are 2 brand new Owen Sound, City of Owen Sound pencils, one for Connor, one for Lucas. There is a brand new packet in here of earbuds for your daughter Kate. And finally, there's a car freshener in there, a pina colada car freshener, courtesy of the Owen Sound Auto Spa for your wife Kelly in her vehicle. So Councillor McManaman, you have won absolutely nothing, but your family is going to be proud of you when you take this home tomorrow. And we're proud of you too, because I know how hard it was not to put on a tie tonight. So congratulations, you are the winner.
And,
Deputy Mayor Wright?
oh, Your Worship, I think it was fixed because the prize he brought in with him, and he said it was for Councillor McManaman and his family all along. So I think it's fixed.
Well, you can vote next year. Councillor McManaman, do you want to give an acceptance speech?
I think included in this, you should at least buy me a pop after the council meeting too.
No, I wanted to thank Councillor Lemon for loaning me a shirt, really. I accept this. I want to thank council for the award. I want to thank all the little people as I came, anyway, no. Yes, I'll be able to leave with my, I'll get an award, but I won't have my dignity. Thank you for the prizes, Councillor.
Worship, could we use that for a flag?
Show us your suit, your jacket. Look at it.
Yeah, you should take your jacket off.
Yeah, you should take your jacket off, do a little strip.
I just assumed it was going to be gift certificates to the car wash.
I was kind of hoping
Chapman's
for
Ice
that.
Cream's even better. All
For the
right.
children, not for him.
So, motion that the committee rise and report.
Moved by myself that the committee rise and report.
All in favor? That is carried. Back into formal session, resolution adopting proceedings of committee in the whole.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Dodd, that the action taken in committee of the whole in considering public meetings, deputations, public question period, matters arising from correspondence, reports, matters tabled, motions for which notice was previously given, and other business be confirmed by this council.
All in favor? That is carried. Number 15, notices of motion. Any?
Moved.
No, there's no notices of motion. Just checking, no business by resolution. Number 17, bylaws. Brian, if you want to go ahead.
Moved by myself, second by Deputy Mayor Wright, that bylaw numbers 2016, 097, 2016, 098, 099, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106 be passed and enacted.
All in favor? That is carried. So that completes our business on the agenda. So we are now adjourned at 8:35. Good evening.